January 27th and February 3rd at the Mohawk Valley Center for the Arts in Little Falls. The program is free, but you must pre-register at 823-0808. If you'd like more information on this event, visit our website, mohawkvalleyliving.com.
It's time for the Cooper Group's road trip to Ilion. We're traveling courtesy of Saturn of the Mohawk Valley in a brand new 2007 Saturn Vue. The Vue has four-wheel drive independent suspension and the towing capacity to haul your winter toys.
To see what we can see, traveling round.
When we explore communities along the original canal system, we're reminded of how this region was settled. In Ilion and around the world, the name Remington embodies the spirit of America. At the Remington Firearms Museum, the history of a company tells the history of a country.
The Erie Canal has always been the lifeblood of the Mohawk Valley, and we've been crossing it time and time again. Today we're going to cross it again because Remington Arms was built on the canal so they could take their product down through the country. And as a matter of fact, they even had their own barges. We're going to be spending some time today, though, going behind these doors and finding out more about the history and more about how these guns are actually produced, and meet a few of the people who are a part of this history.
To see what we can see, traveling round.
The first gun was made by Ephelite Remington, which was actually all he made was the barrel, and he had to take the barrel to Utica to have it rifled. And then he went to a shooting fest after completing his rifle, and people were so impressed with it that he ended up in the rifle business, or the manufacturing of guns. The factory was in Steele's Creek. It was actually a forge where he built the guns, and that lasted for about 12 years where he made guns and other stuff for people. And it grew so big that he ended up buying a farm in Ilion. Well, actually it was Morgan's Landing at that time. And he built a factory at this site, and that was 1828. This factory, these buildings were put up in 1915. Well, right now you're in the custom shop, and this is where if a person wanted to order a very expensive gun or a gun that was custom built to you, so it could be fitted exactly for you, you could be fitted, you could get whatever wood you wanted on it, have it custom engraved, and you wait for about 6 months to a year. By the time you ordered it and had everything on it, you'd have your new gun.
If you're lucky enough to take a tour here at Remington Arms, you can come in here to the custom shop. I'm in what you might call a staging area right here. It's a platform where you can see what's going on all around. And as opposed to wearing a hairnet last week, I have to wear these safety goggles. But when you come here, you're going to see artistry. It's amazing. I met with Don Talbot, and he's an engraver. And I'm telling you, the man is an artist. And as a matter of fact, if you look at any of his work, it's signed, the same as a painting would be signed. And he can take anything you want and convert it into an engraving on your rifle or shotgun. It seems to be typical of people who work here in the Mohawk Valley. When I talked to Don Talbot, he mentioned he has been working here for 36 years, but then he said that he just loves coming into work every day, and you can see it in his attitude and in his product.
I tread up the road, my heart begins to race. Thought of her just scares me away.
To learn more about the interesting Remington family, we visit Clapsettle Farm. Jim Parker's ancestors were great friends of the Remingtons.
The family came in the 1790s after the American Revolution. The gun maker, Laflette II, which they called Junior, was only 7 when they came. And his father bought quite a lot of land in Crane's Corners, which is still a little hamlet up here. And he put his first forge. His father was a blacksmith and trained his sons, all the sons. He then bought 700 acres in the town of Litchfield, closer to Ilion. That included the land down in the Ilion Gorge where he built his first foundry. And that's where the son, when he was 16, made his first gun barrel. In 1828, he decided that he wanted to connect to the Erie Canal, which had opened in 1825. So our family sold him 100 acres on the canal to build what he called his new works. When you came in the farm, on my farm road before the bridge, There's a wooden pipe under there. I still have in my deed, I'm to maintain that for E. Remington water power. Then the sons took over, and now it was booming, and Philo got a large order from the Russian Army. The whole Russian Army was to be equipped with Remington equipment guns. They were ashamed to bring the Russian royalty to Ilion because there was nothing fancy here. So they built this magnificent mansion up on the hill, and all the marble was brought from Italy just for the entrance hall. Everything was wrought iron. It was the most magnificent home west of Albany. In fact, the funny thing about that, in 1928, it had been abandoned and vandalized by then. And my dad and my uncle were hired to go up there and tear it down. And parts of that mansion are in every home up on that hill. The staircase, everything was salvaged, and now it's in homes all over Ilion.
Even though they tore down the Remington mansion, there is something still remaining historically, and it's the stables that used to be a part of the mansion. Fortunately, it's now home to the Ilion Little Theater, and we're going to be talking in a moment to Dave Strickmeyer, who is secretary for the Ilion Little Theater. The theater itself is in the stables, and it's about as close as you'll ever come around here to a very small and charming off-Broadway theater. It's one of the oldest community theaters in the United States, and it's right here in the heart of the Mohawk Valley.
Our official title is the Little Theater Club of Ilion, New York Incorporated, but we like to call ourselves Ilion Little Theater. It was founded as a private club back in 1924, before television and cinemas and that sort of thing were popular. So this was a source of entertainment for many of the residents of Ilion. We're an all-volunteer and all-community theater, so we invite everybody who wants to get involved to come in. We have open auditions for the shows typically. And we do 3 major productions a year. Well, the show that's coming up in March is called Murder at the Howard Johnsons. It's a comedy, in spite of its title, and it's being directed by George Malavasic, one of our stalwart members, and it's basically a farce about people who can't decide who should win out in this strange romantic triangle that they're in. So that should be a lot of fun.
There are beautiful views driving around Ilion. As we explore, we find a road named Old Forge, where one of the Remington forges was located. But we don't see many things named for the family that was such a part of Ilion's history. We're told they were humble, and find a room at the library that was recently dedicated to the Remingtons.
I'm in the Remington room at the Ilion Free Public Library, which raises the question, how did Ilion become Ilion? Originally it was going to be called Remington, but the Remingtons, being very modest people, did not want that to happen. As a matter of fact, Mr. Remington said that if they named it after him, he would move his business to Mohawk. In the 1800s, it was the postmaster, Mr. DeVoe, who picked the name for this little village, and he took it from Ilium, which is the Latin for Troy. Ilium eventually became Ilion, which I suppose is a good thing, because otherwise, had it remained Remington, our series on the area around here would not be FIM, it would be FREM, for Frankfurt, Remington, and Mohawk. The Farmhouse Restaurant is easy to find. It's on Route 51. That's what goes up into the Ilion Gorge, and it is next to the firehouse. If you come here today, be sure to order the special. It's oatmeal pancakes.
I want it to, like you were going into Grandma's house, you know, and everything would be different, and the dishes mismatched, and the cups and plates and everything. Everything's mismatched, like going to Grandma's.
We'd like to thank you for taking us up on last week's offer at Thurston's to get a second meal for half price. Sally here at the farmhouse has offered the same thing here. Order a breakfast this morning, get the second one for half price.
Today only, Sally invites Mohawk Valley Living viewers to enjoy old-fashioned farmhouse cooking. Buy one entree and get one half price. Enjoy your visit to Ilion. We'll be back next week to explore the Ilion Gorge and learn more about this historic village.
What we can see.